You don't need a mansion or a Hollywood name to leave behind a story that's more than just fame. From small town dreams to a walk of stars, the love you leave is who you are.
You don't need a yacht or a Grammy to need a will, just a family or a cat plotting world domination. Welcome to Celebrity Estate Chaos, where we prove a lot of things, like how estate chaos isn't just for millionaires with private islands, it's for anyone with stuff, relatives, or that one weird collection you think nobody's fighting over. And chances are, they will. Coming up next, from fish tanks that hack casinos, to crypto wallets gone poof, to emergency go-bags packed by your cat, our episodes cover it all. Whether it's cyber screw-ups, caregiving chaos, estate planning gone wildly wrong, or prepping for doomsday with humor, we've got your disaster decoded. So stay tuned, smash that like, subscribe, and join us for more stories that are hilarious, helpful, and just a little too real.
Okay, let's dive in. Emergencies. They're kind of that thing we all hope just, never happens.
Right, the ultimate uh-oh.
Exactly. And it's almost funny, isn't it, how they always pick the worst possible time.
Oh, absolutely. Never convenient. One source we looked at literally said, emergencies never happen at a convenient time. It's like a rule.
It really is. And that feeling, that being caught completely flat-footed.
Yeah.
That's what we're digging into today, this idea of oops-proofing your life.
I like that term, oops-proofing. It's about building like a buffer, right? Having the skills, the stuff to handle those moments where you suddenly think, oops, now what?
I wish I knew what to do yesterday, kind of feeling.
Exactly,
Yeah.
like that YouTube title, right?
Precisely. And we've really sifted through a lot for you. Blog posts, articles, some really interesting YouTube transcripts, even takeaways from books on this very topic.
Yeah, real deep dive.
Our mission here is simple. Pull out the practical stuff, the useful insights, maybe even some slightly weird hacks we found, things you can use right away to feel, a bit more ready, less overwhelmed by it all.
Definitely. And look, if you just thought, uh-oh, maybe I should pay attention, you're not alone.
Huh. Yeah.
As one article put it quite bluntly, uh-oh is not a strategy.
No, it really isn't. So, okay, where do we start? How do we actually begin oops-proofing?
Well, the most basic, unavoidable starting point across everything we saw, supplies. You need to have some emergency supplies.
Right. That seems foundational. One book, Emergency, Not on My Watch, really hammers home having at least 72 hours worth of essentials ready to go.
Yeah, that 72-hour figure comes up a lot. It's sort of the standard advice, isn't it?
It seems to be.
It's generally based on that initial period after something big happens when normal services might be down, roads blocked, power out, that kind of thing.
Makes sense. Get through the immediate aftermath.
But it does make you think, are there situations where 72 hours just isn't enough? Like if you live somewhere really remote or have specific medical needs.
That's a really good point. And actually, another source, this article, UPS, Are You Actually Ready for a Disaster?
Yeah.
It kind of challenges that. It basically says, if you think you have enough for 72 hours, maybe double it.
Double it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thinking being, it's not just about you having enough, but what happens when everyone needs supplies? Things can vanish from shelves fast.
Oh, tell me about it. We all saw that happen, didn't we? The toilet paper apocalypse.
Exactly. So maybe overestimating is better than underestimating.
Which leads us straight into the concept of the go bag. That showed up everywhere.
Grab and go kit.
Right. That bag you can literally grab in seconds if you need to evacuate. What are the absolute must-haves in there?
Okay, essentials. Definitely any prescription meds you rely on. Copies of vital documents, ID, insurance, that sort of thing.
Good one. Documents.
Basic first aid supplies. Some cash in small bills because, ATLs might be down.
Or card readers aren't working.
Non-perishable food, high-energy stuff preferably. And water. Can't forget water or a way to purify it.
It's really about covering those immediate survival needs if you're suddenly out of your house or stuck without utilities.
And it's not just us humans we need to think about.
Oh, absolutely. You read my mind. That FURST aid source really highlighted pet preparedness. It's crucial.
Yeah, they talked about having a dedicated bark bag or meow kit.
Yeah, kit. I like that. So what goes in the pet version?
Well, similar idea. Definitely enough food for several days, plus treats for comfort, water, and a portable bowl.
Right.
A favorite toy can help with stress. Poop bags are essential, or maybe a small litter tray and litter for cats,
Practical stuff.
and copies of their vet records, vaccine info, any medications they need. You got to make sure they're safe and cared for, too.
It's those little details, isn't it?
Yeah,
Planning for the whole family, furry members included.
totally. And speaking of maybe slightly unexpected details, one of the sources, emergency, not on my watch, again, had this, well, kind of weird emergency hack.
Oh, do tell. I like weird hacks.
Using a can of tuna as an emergency candle.
Wait, what? A tuna can? Seriously? How?
Apparently, the oil in the tuna acts as fuel. You just need to poke a hole in the top and stick in a makeshift wick, like a twisted paper towel or a bit of cotton.
Huh. Tuna oil. I guess that makes sense. It's oil.
Right. It supposedly burns for quite a while, gives off a little light. It's a great example of, like, repurposing everyday things when you're in a pinch.
That is genuinely resourceful.
Huh.
A bit smelly, maybe, but resourceful. Tuna candle. Okay, noted.
Definitely filed away. So we've talked a lot about the physical stuff, the supplies, the go bags.
The tuna candles.
The tuna candles, yes. But this oops-proofing idea feels like it's got to be more than just having gear, right?
Oh, absolutely. Thinking back to that YouTube transcript, it really emphasized that preparedness is, well, it's holistic. It's not just stuff.
What else?
It's things like mental resilience, how you handle the stress. It's about community connections, knowing your neighbors. And it's even about digital preparedness these days.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. Mental resilience. What does that look like in an emergency? Staying calm under pressure.
Yeah, basically. Having coping mechanisms, maybe practicing mindfulness, even just having a solid plan can reduce panic. Knowing what to do helps you stay focused.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And community connections, how does that play in?
Well, think about it. If emergency services are overwhelmed, who's nearby? Your neighbors.
Right.
Knowing who might have, say, medical training or who has a generator or just checking in on elderly neighbors.
Yeah.
That mutual support can be vital. A neighborhood plan, maybe?
That's a really powerful idea. Strength in numbers, kind of.
Exactly. And digital preparedness, what's that involve?
Good question, I guess. Backing up important stuff, like photos, documents, maybe storing them in the cloud and on a hard drive.
Yeah, and having ways to communicate if the usual channels are down. Offline maps, maybe knowing how to use walkie-talkies or having a battery-powered radio.
And having important phone numbers written down. Because your phone might die.
Precisely. It's thinking about how reliant we are on tech and what happens if it fails.
Okay, that's a lot to think about. Supplies, mental strength, community, digital backups.
Yeah.
It can feel a bit overwhelming.
It definitely can. But one thing that YouTube discussion stressed, which I thought was great advice, was just start small. Take one step today.
One small step. I like that. What kind of step are we talking?
Oh, anything, really. Maybe just buy a few extra cans of food next time you're shopping. Or put together a really basic first aid kit.
Or just have that conversation with your family. Like, okay, if the power goes out for a day, what's our plan?
Exactly. Make a contact plan. Identify an out-of-state contact everyone can check in with. Just do something, however small. It builds momentum.
It makes it feel less daunting, maybe.
Yeah.
And it's certainly a timely conversation, isn't it? I mean, that source, shake, rattle, and nope. Attention to all those recent earthquakes, Japan, Alaska, California, BC.
Yeah, it's a stark reminder that this stuff isn't hypothetical. It happens anywhere, often with no warning.
And thinking back to that "uh-oh's not a strategy" article. Wow.
Yeah.
The examples they used, California wildfires, Maui, the Texas freeze, Hurricane Ian,
The pandemic.
the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right. Each one taught some hard lessons, didn't they?
Absolutely. Like knowing more than one way out of your neighborhood or home, that came up with the wildfire.
Yeah. And the growing impact of climate change making extreme weather more common. That was a big one.
Definitely. Don't underestimate the weather, even if it seems minor initially. That Texas freeze caught so many people off guard.
And the unforgettable lesson, always be two-ply prepared.
Yeah, indeed. A surprisingly practical takeaway from a global crisis.
So the message across all these different sources from blogs to books seems really consistent.
It really does. It boils down to be proactive. Don't wait until you're in the middle of it to figure things out. Preparation beats panic every single time.
And for anyone listening who wants to, really go deeper on this,
Yeah.
a lot of the great insights we touched on, especially from the books, come from an author named Tina Ginn.
Oh, right.
She's written a whole series. Emergency, not on my watch.
Yeah.
First aid for pets. Oops, proof what you'll actually need when it hits the fan. Ready for anything. Cake, even stop Drop and roll. Seemed
Yeah.
like a go-to resource.
Definitely sounds like it. Good to know.
So it really comes back to you, listening right now.
What's that one small thing?
Yeah. What's one step, however little, you can take today or maybe this week to feel just that bit more prepared?
Don't put it off until that uh-oh moment hits.
Because honestly, you just don't want to be that person saying, man, I really wish I had prepared.